Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Oh, yeah. It is. It's the end of the corporate age. It seems like the beginning of the stupid age for a lot of reasons. The card today, though, is just a beautiful, beautiful picture from Barbara Bartleson. And it's really nice. Front porch clouds. I always forget where Barbara is. Jupiter Judy's easy because Jupiter, Florida. Barbara, I always forget where you are, but wherever it is, it's beautiful. And I honestly couldn't tell if that was a sunrise or sunset. I'm like, I don't know. Here, let me take a look at it again. What do you guys think? And Barbara, let me know. Yes, I'm a dumbass because I keep forgetting where you are. But remind me where you are. It's beautiful. It's a nice picture. And we use that because I was so distracted by some of the silliness and stupid that happens to be happening right now that I just didn't have time to source out some kind of a really relevant card other than to say, here's a beautiful picture of Earth. Thank you, Barbara, for that. Good morning, everybody. We have a lot of people in the house with me today. We have Katie all the way over there from, yes, Katie's there. Hang on, I don't even have you up on screen yet, guys. And I don't even have your audio on. Nobody can hear you. But you can talk all you want.
Hi, everybody.
There you go. Got Katie here. We have our favorite German, Markus.
Yeah. Hello, Katie. Hello, John. And hello, Ashley.
Hi, Markus.
And of course, good morning, America. And I've got good news for us all because we will be on the next cover of the Time magazine. We will be hosts of the year. Isn't this great?
Yes, yes. Whoever wants to Photoshop that in, please do.
Yeah, would be great.
And we also have a producer, editor, filmmaker extraordinaire Ashley Terry with us here. Say hi. How are you doing, Ash? How are you?
Good. Just woke up. Good morning.
Ashley is sporting a beard, and I told him right before we went live that I think it looks great, and I'm actually jealous of his ability to grow said beard.
He starts to look a little bit like CM Punk, if you ask me.
Really? Like who? Who?
I don't know him. He's a wrestler, retired wrestler.
But say the name again.
CM Punk.
Yeah, I've heard that name. I'm not. I always love, even when I have no knowledge of sports, but when people compare me to some kind of athlete, I'm like, yeah, I like that. I don't care. A wrestler, football player, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
I'm sporty.
So I made your day already.
There you go.
So this is a first, and this is great. It took me a while to get this shot. I no longer have to be on camera.
Wow.
I can just put the three of you up there and let you talk. Have at it. I'm going to go get some tea. Very nice, Ashley. So we have all these people in here today because they've got things they want to say. I mean, Markus always joins us, right? Katie wants to talk to us about Brexit and the DUP deal, which I complained about yesterday, and she probably has some facts for us that I had no idea about yesterday. And Ashley wants to talk about Juneteenth, which I knew about last year, like every typical white person, and then promptly forgot about it because it was no longer Juneteenth. And when he said, you know what Juneteenth is, and I said, nope, I don't remember again. So he's going to talk about it, and it's important, even though it may not be, there may not be the right to celebrate right now. Right, it's something that needs to be known and remembered. So he's going to talk about that. But first, we got to cover a whole bunch of other things, like saying good morning to everybody. Hi, Ellis and Catherine and Stock and John and Eco and Kim and Chemo and Jody and Robert, Cat Poodle, Susan, Metalhead, Springfield. How are you doing? John Warren, good to see you. Paula, So many people. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm sure I missed names. Kendra, Joanna, I am. Louise. Didn't you just have a birthday, Louise? I see people's birthdays and then I forget. I'm sorry. So I think I know I was supposed to mention. Didn't we have that, Marcus? Did we mention that?
I know.
I didn't know.
I know this.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much. And I am paying more attention in the Facebooks, which is where I see all this stuff. It's starting to send me movies. It's weird. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Hi, John Moore and Melissa H. How are you? You guys had a lot of conversation. Dennis, how are you doing?
There's Dennis.
All right. So good morning, everybody. Lots of things to talk about. Lots of things to talk about. Let's the card. So tonight is We the People. We are meeting Randy Bryce, Iron Stash, on Twitter, right? He's risen to fame not only by having a great first-run campaign ad, I mean, it's a fantastic campaign ad, but also by having a very fantastic mustache that seems to be now the spectacle of mainstream media, which is great. Let them write it however they want. I don't care, right? Any press is good press. The best thing about Randy Bryce, from what I can tell, is he's not full of shit. I went back watching some of the videos. He and his the guy that's working for him or helping him loaded us up with tons of content from his previous efforts, stuff from 2015. And I mean, you listen to the guy speak and you're like, he sounds a lot like Bernie, just probably a hell of a lot stronger. He's an iron worker. No offense, Bernie, just saying. I mean, he's younger, right? Anyway, I was impressed. There's a whole speech he does. He goes to the Capitol in Wisconsin. He's talking about unions and saved his life. He's run for office 3 times, and he knows what it's like to lose. Here, I want to show you this. I have this loaded up to talk to him about it tonight.
You have footage of him losing? Is that what you're going to
I have the only negative headline about his ad out of the Washington Post, because Jeff Bezos isn't a fan of Randy Bryce, because Randy Bryce is a big union guy. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, which said this union iron worker wants Paul Ryan's job. He's got a great ad, but a losing record. Like everybody else was like badass ad, from Working Man, and there was not a single negative, even though in the headlines. But of course, the Washington Post has to point it out. He's a loser. It's like, right. He's a loser, which means he knows what he's doing. Yes. What were you saying there, Marcus?
I saw him in an interview with MSNBC, and they treated him nicely, and it might be because they might think that he has no chance against Paul Ryan, and maybe this might be the reason they don't go too harsh on him. But I think it was okay how they treated him, and I so hope that he kicks Ryan's ass. I cannot stand this guy. I saw an interview earlier today where he was defending the healthcare bill, the Trump care shit, and this guy is completely he's not living in this world, and he must replace by a guy who has both feet on the ground.
Can you break your eyes from rolling them too hard? I'm just curious.
Because of Ryan.
Yeah.
Try it, Ash. Hey, good morning, Laura Live and Good. How you doing? You're lurking. Good to see you.
Laura's with us. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Brad. How are you? We're gonna, and Jilly Love, how you doing? We're gonna talk about later on. I'm gonna talk about Laura Live and Good and everything she does. And the reason we're able to have We the Peoples is her. And talk about roles and responsibilities and what's happening with this exploding network here going on. But first, more on Paul Ryan. You ever watch who watches The Voice?
Good.
Any of you guys watch The Voice? You know the show I'm talking about?
Not unless I'm obliged to.
No.
Right.
All
or
right.
obligated to.
Not the American show.
No. All right, so that's how I can do it. I can toggle between me and Ashley. I mean, we're just two white dudes, so you'd never know.
I think American is the distinction there.
I'm sorry. Oh, really? What? Nice. So no, but okay. So more on saying more on this person. A terrible intro when you're live. Carson Daly, who is the host of The Voice, did that with one of the, like he do the intros when they're talking about a guest, and then they'll run these pre-done clips talking about the sad story of their life and how they became a musician and everything. And Carson was there, and he goes, "Moron, Jeff, blah blah blah." And he realized right as he said, he was like, "I didn't separate more and on enough, and I just called our guy a moron." And yeah, it's bad.
All right.
Just, enunciation is so important when you're hosting things.
Let's go on with Moron Paul Ryan.
Yes, moron Paul Ryan, because in this case, it's important that we say moron. Enunciation is clear. Very clear. Oh, and I seem to be really loud. Sorry, everybody. I'm just loud today. Just loud. The longer the hair gets, the louder I get. I think that's the way it is.
Your regular Samson over there. A yelling Samson.
Yes, yes. I just honestly just don't want to go to get my hair cut. I don't like getting haircuts anymore.
I always thought you did it yourself. I'm just kidding.
If I could, I would, man. I should get the Flowbee. I really should. I should get the Flowbee. I mean, why not?
But John, you would meet new people, you know?
Which no. You realize I'm in a town of 50,000 people. I'm not meeting anybody new.
Because every time you say if you have to go to something political with the Democratic Party, no, I don't want to go, and of course you go, and then you're coming back one day later. That it was so great, and it was so interesting, and you are completely full of energy again, and maybe all this could happen at the barber shop, and getting your hair cut and loaded with new energy.
I've told you guys about the barbershop. I've told you guys what it was like, and the crazy Jack at the barbershop and shooting things, barbershop pot, growing pot, and the two military haircut people that are there to cut your hair the same way. It will not deviate. What?
Talking about the revolution.
Yeah. I think it's funny you guys say, who was it? John Warren or somebody said I should wear my hair in a ponytail. Yeah, you guys don't know my history. I don't know where it went now. I'm just gonna tear apart my set for a minute. I had a picture back there. I used to have hair down to my ass. I have a picture of right before I went in to go get it cut for the last time when it was that long. This is in 1998. All right, I was 28. I was living with my mom. That was before I left for California to stop living with my mom. I had really long hair, and that was about all I had.
Me too.
That was you, Marcus?
Yeah, me too.
Nice. So
the 90s. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, the 90s. And then I realized I was approaching 30 and had to get my shit together. Hey, John, growing your hair doesn't really pay the bills anymore.
I had that crappy cut where you shave underneath and then pull all of it back into a ponytail. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Oh gosh. Yes, we do. I don't know that I'm going for long hair again. I just am lazy. I don't want to go get it cut. But actually, the story is a little bit personal, and we're not going to go there as to why I don't like getting a haircut anymore. We're going to talk about it. Anyway, what are you guys talking about over here in chat? I was told I was ignoring you guys. I knew I was ignoring you guys a lot yesterday. I wasn't doing a good job. How you guys doing? No bun, Robert. I will not do a man bun. Sorry. I'm too old for that. You millennials have fun with the man bun. If you can pull it off, good for you. No. I'd look
please
like
pull it off. If you can pull it off, please pull it off.
If you can pull off a man bun, please do. That is beautiful, Ashley. and there we go. I promise you, no man buns, and I will not pull a Richard Spencer. Like Eric Trump's new haircut. No.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. Dennis, you got a picture. Oh, yeah. Yes, we look bad. If you go to my Facebook, if you find me on Facebook, there is a picture of me with the long hair with my remarkably famous metal band in Littleton, Colorado, where we were known by at least one bar. All right, so...
And I can guarantee that there is no single piece of me with long hair in the internet.
We need to find that. We need to find some.
No chance.
So we've not talked
Middle
about
out.
anything
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
pertinent and relevant yet.
Right.
Mostly hair, upcoming events. Ashley's holding a pitcher. He's drinking from a pitcher. What are we getting into the entertainment part of this? Top stories. Let's actually talk about top stories since we're there. While the German lights a cigarette for effect. The death care bill is DOA, right? It's not going anywhere. Poor Mitch had to quickly say that it's complicated. I mean, would he come out of his turtle? It's complicated. I just can't stand him. Anyway, so there's now 6 GOP people who say they're not going to go for the bill, which means by July 4th, Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan have to find more money and more bribes to help these 6 people see the light, which is really what they're after. It's really what they're after. And hang on, guys. It's terrible. Whole thing fell down here. My $17 earpiece. Hi to Mick, if you showed up today, if you're going to come by for the show. Hi to Mick and Tanisha, 2 people that I had interesting conversations with in chat. Thank you for your honesty. And I agree with you 100% on production of this show. It's terrible. It absolutely is. And there's reason for that. I've produced better shows. People who've known this channel since the beginning have seen much better shows, especially ones that didn't involve me on camera. But that's for another time to talk about. Again, I have 3 people ready to talk to you about other shit if I could just get to their stories, although Markus is just here. Anyway, moving on. Ryan's World. Paul Ryan's World. It's not your world. That needs to be a show. Ryan's World. It's not your world. We're going to listen to what Paul Ryan has to say, how he explains the people that can't afford me. Here's me. This is why I won't have coverage under death care if it passes. I want you to listen to Paul's explanation of it because I found it quite fascinating. I didn't realize this.
Oh, yes.
This is my choice. So don't complain, everybody. You're just making a choice.
Mr. Speaker, while you were in your series of meetings, the CBO came out with a score. You knew it was coming out. And a brief look shows that over the course of a 10-year period, you're going to save $321 billion off the deficit. However, 22 million will be without coverage.
What they're basically saying at the Congressional Budget Office is if you're not going to force people to buy Obamacare, if you're not going to force people to buy something they don't want, then they won't buy it. So it's not that people are getting pushed off a plan. It's that people will choose not to buy something they don't like or want. And that's the difference here. So by repealing the individual and employer mandate, which mandates people buy this health insurance that they can't afford, that don't like, if you don't mandate that they're going to do this, then that many people won't do it. It also says that if states don't expand Medicaid in the future, then fewer people will go on Medicaid in those states that don't expand it in the future.
Premiums are going to be 10% higher in 2019, but 30% lower in 2020.
Well, that's the whole point of our bill, is to get premiums down. We've been hit with double-digit premium increases in Obamacare. It's one of the reasons why people are paying the penalty not buying the insurance. It's one of the reasons why the system's in a collapse right now. Right. So the key is to give people more choices, have more competition, bring premiums down. That's why this bill, and CBO even says so,
right,
will bring premiums down so families can afford the coverage.
I think you saw what Democrats are doing to Paul Ryan look-alike throwing a granny off a cliff. What is your reaction? Can you really laugh that off at this point?
Oh, yeah. I'm so used to this by now. I think the left is out of gas. I think they just basically decide resist, resist, resist. They want government-run health care. Government-run health care is collapsing while we speak. It's not working. And so what are we doing? We're replacing it with a law that will actually work. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield just said, you pass this law, it's going to stabilize the market. It's going to bring down prices. It will get more plans being offered to people.
Newt Gingrich said, if the Republicans get health care wrong, they lose the House. Do you feel that there's that much at stake?
Well, I think it's probably it's the biggest signature issue we have, and it's the biggest promise we've ever made in the modern era. We said if we get elected, we will repeal and replace Obamacare. We did this in the House. It is now the Senate's term. I think they're going to do it. So I do agree with Newt that we were elected to solve people's problems, to improve people's lives. Fixing healthcare is a big part of that. But it also means we've got to move on to these other issues. And that's what I've told you this before. We're doing so much here in Congress, right? Knocking down our agenda, our list of items to do, but a lot of people aren't paying attention to it, or the media is not paying attention to it. Nevertheless, we're still trudging ahead.
You have passed 158 bills.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Yes.
The press isn't paying attention to all the things we're getting done. Look at everybody we're deporting. Look, I mean, it just unbelievable. Paul Ryan does not live in our world.
I told you.
He lives in a very different reality from the rest of us. And it's frightening. It's frightening.
Yes.
You know? The bullshit. What's happening though is people are realizing the bullshit. The people that he's been lying to, they're the ones going to lose the coverage. So he can talk all he wants about, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
In Germany, we would call this guy a Backpfeifengesicht.
A what? Say that again.
In Germany, he would be named a Backpfeifengesicht. A Backpfeifengesicht would be translated into a slap face. And
Slap face.
And this guy makes me so angry. Yes, I'm an non-violent guy, but I would be happy to slap his face because this is such bullshit what he says. It is incredible, and the left is running out of gas. I hope that Randy will show him the opposite. Will show him that he is absolutely wrong, and I hope, as I said it earlier, I hope that he kicks his ass.
Agreed.
Because Paul Ryan, and he said it, that Paul Ryan didn't have a town hall or didn't even show up in his state or in his community for more than 600 days. So what can people expect from him to give him their votes? He doesn't offer them nothing. In contrary, we just saw it. He wants to cut everything, and we will see how far he will go with this. And I hope he gets his ass kicked. Yeah.
Yes. Well, so we've got everybody. I think everybody hopes he gets his ass kicked. I want to know who votes for Paul Ryan in his district. The human beings. I want to know. I mean, like I realize he hasn't had a decent challenger, and I realize that the Democratic Party in general has been like, whatever, that's Ryan's place, and we'll just leave him there, and we don't care because we're working for the same team anyway. Now that we have an actual challenger in Randy Bryce and two other people, one might be an establishment attempt, the other, I don't know, free agent maybe. I don't even have that guy's name. They both just, but I mean, at this point, do we get to do this for real? Do we actually get to challenge for real? Can we do this? That's the big question. Because it's gonna, if you put $30 million into John Ossoff to lose, how many millions will it take to win against Paul Ryan? That's the question. Not that Ossoff is I mean, Ossoff was a milquetoast. You know, he was a dud, right? Randy Bryce is fantastic, launched with a great campaign, but still, tens of millions of dollars, right?
And that was a special election in a tough district and all that kind of stuff. Too.
That's true. That's true. But Paul Ryan's district certainly tough. I mean, who votes for him? It's everybody that votes for him are the people that they buy. Can you buy that many votes? I don't know. You buy the news stations. Anyway, we're not done. We're not done with Ryan's World. We have more of Ryan's World. This is Tucker Carlson on Fox News. Remember, things are bizarre now because even Fox News is making attempts to seem like real news. And in many cases is telling the truth or a closer to the truth narrative than other MSM, which is frightening. And certainly Fox News has told closer to the truth narrative when they are opposing something Donald Trump is trying to push out as narrative. And that's frightening. You know, MSM has no place. They don't know where to go. They're trying to stick their integrity somewhere, and they don't have any to stick. But here's Tucker Carlson really like giving it to Paul Ryan, which is a visual none of us needed.
win for conservatives.
Well, okay, so let's get to the tax policy. So as I understand it, and I'm just reading this, so I may have it wrong, but there's an investment tax in here, the net investment income tax. And as far as I know, it only kicks in on couples making over $250,000 a year. So it's a tax on wealthy investors, and you're eliminating it. In a health
3.8% tax. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So I guess my question is, looking at the last election, was the message of that election really, we need to help investors? I mean, the Dow is over 20,000. Are they really the group that needs the help?
This was a tax on capital income, which is bad for economic growth. It's basically a capital gains tax increase, effectively, to finance Obamacare. We're undoing Obamacare, so we're not going to keep Obamacare taxes in place. So all of these taxes, $1 trillion tax cut that this bill represents, that is part of that $1 trillion tax increase that was in Obamacare to finance Obamacare.
No, I know, but
we're repealing. No, but we promised we would repeal the Obamacare taxes. This is one of the Obamacare taxes, so we're keeping our promise. And by the way, it's bad tax policy because it's bad for economic growth, and we're also repealing the Obamacare spending. So we're getting rid of its taxing, and we're getting rid of its spending, and this is us keeping our word. You may want to keep that 3.8% tax. We're not going to keep it because it was part of Obamacare.
Well, but lots of things are part of Obamacare that you just said a minute ago you're not doing anything about because you can't under
only
reconciliation
because of
bills. You don't have to meet. That's right, but you just said that you don't have to meet every promise in this first round.
That's
and
right.
Yet, I guess it's a macro
but fiscal
question.
policy we can be, but tax and spending policy we can. So
I'm aware.
money.
But also, I mean, you have. The overview here is that all the wealth basically in the last 10 years is stuck to the top end. That's one of the reasons we've had all this political turmoil, as you know. And so kind of a hard sell to say, yeah, we're going to repeal Obamacare, but we're going to send more money to the people who've already gotten the richest over the last 10 years. I mean, that's what this does, no? I'm not a leftist. It's just that's true.
Ryan's,
I'm not a leftist, I promise.
Ryan's face. Oh my God. Ryan's face.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
It's just unbelievable. Just even when Tucker Carlson is having an argument with somebody who used to be his best buddy, right? I mean, it's like, look, dude, I can't pull this bullshit on over people. This is way beyond the bullshit we used to talk about.
And this bullshit is the same like the Brexit bullshit. It is the same narrative. We got to repeal Obamacare because we said it for 7 years.
Right.
But we don't have nothing to offer. But we got to repeal Obamacare. The Brexit fuck is the same shit.
Right.
I'm sorry to get loud, but it is fucking crazy. It has nothing to do with facts.
No, let it out, Marcus. Go to a therapist if you need to over there, because you can.
We have still 1 hour to go, John.
No, I know. By the way, couple of things that I need to just bring up that have been told. Laura Livengood, who is working so hard on booking people for We the People, has just confirmed Paula Jean Swearingen for the 12th of July.
Cool.
So
thank you, Laura.
Jean. And I just asked because I forgot who the hell she's running against. Somebody important. Who the hell's Paula Jean running against?
Anyone?
And Laura Livengood didn't respond to me. Somebody tell me in chat because I forgot. But she's running against one of the people we want out, and that's what we want. Also, just to back it up a bit, Soul Rebel, love the reference. Ryan's World, not excellent. Whoa. Ryan's World, death time, not excellent. I mean, thank you. I like that. If we only had a time machine to go back. the handmaiden thing from yesterday, abort Pence. Time machines. Anyway, Joe Manchin. Thank you, Stock. She's running against Joe Manchin.
Yes.
The Republican who got elected as a Democrat. Had to be like a mistake on the ballot. You sure he's a Democrat?
And he's the one questioning, I don't even know if Bernie's a Democrat.
I know. It's like, really? Really, dude? Yeah.
No, he isn't.
Robert, not excellent. Oh, you guys are cracking me up. All right, so that's Ryan's World. It's not our world. I don't know what world it is. But to stay on time, we're going to move forward with all these other videos that I loaded in. Like this one. This is Robert Reich, who's going to talk about Medicare for all. Because I wanted this program to be educational, damn it. Get down.
As Republicans in Congress move to repeal the Affordable Care Act, Democrats are moving toward Medicare for All, a single-payer plan that builds on Medicare and would cover everyone at far lower cost. Most House Democrats are already supporting a Medicare for All bill. Senator Bernie Sanders is preparing to introduce it in the Senate. Both California and New York State are moving toward single-payer plans. With healthcare emerging as the public's top concern, according to recent polls, the choice between repeal of the Affordable Care Act and Medicare for All is likely to be the major domestic issue in the presidential campaign of 2020, other than getting Trump out of office if he lasts that long. And the better choice is clear. Private for-profit insurers spend a fortune trying to attract healthy people while avoiding the sick and needy, filling out paperwork from hospitals and providers, paying top executives, and rewarding shareholders. And for-profit insurers are emerging like mad in order to make even more money. These are among the major reasons why health insurance is becoming so expensive, and why almost every other advanced nation, including our neighbor to the north, has adopted some form of a single-payer system at less cost per person and with better health outcomes. Most Americans support Medicare for All. According to a Gallup poll conducted in May, a majority would like to see a single-payer system implemented. An April survey from The Economist YouGov showed 60% of Americans in favor of expanding Medicare to providing health insurance to every American. That includes nearly half of people who identify themselves as Republican. If congressional Republicans gut the Affordable Care Act, the American public will be presented with a real choice ahead. Either expensive health care for a few, or affordable health care for the many.
Well, that was just party time. Excellent, actually. Thank you, Robert Rice.
Party time.
That was Rice's world, which was a lot better than
Yeah,
Ryan's world.
indeed. Yeah. Excellent.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, Katie?
No, he makes good videos, explaining a particular topic in a few words, and obviously with the drawings, but he makes them clear.
He does. He does. Is it? I mean, is that really him drawing? Anybody know?
Yeah.
It is.
I saw his face, and I was surprised, but I was thinking that myself. I was like, that could be anybody's hand, but then I saw his head up there, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's an artist too.
That's. I mean, that's a talent to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
To be able to I'm sure they had graphic artists composing. This is what space they don't need to take up anyway.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. Whatever. It's just.
Yeah.
Katie. Yeah. You've seen.
Yeah, no, I've seen a number of them at one point in the early part of the election. I watched a whole series of videos where he explained how everything worked in the States, and I thought they were really well done.
Yeah. No, I've seen them all too. I always thought he just had, because before, when I lived in the business world, I actually hired a company to make one of those for my company. Then I paid them, and then we didn't use it. But so yeah, they figured it was a company, but that was impressive. So I was like, who'd they find to get a hand that looks just like his hand? All right.
I think it's him. I think I remember him up close. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, you guys we all agree it's him. All right. So moving on. That was Robert Rice telling us about how it could work. It's supposed to work. I love the. They always talk about where does the money come from. It's our money. It's just how we spend it. That's like the bottom line we have to get through to all Americans. All that money in the chart with the giant portion of it that goes to the military, that's our money. And if we actually had control of our democracy, we could choose not to spend so much on that one thing. That's it. There's no reason we spend it there, folks. It's our power. We're just remembering that. Here, this is Fusion talking about how messed up we are. And if I can get this loaded right. I liked this video. I thought this was very informative.
Funny thing about the United States, it's becoming a development.
Hang on, I don't know why this is so
Just
quiet.
take a look at the middle class.
Oh, that's what
We hear that our middle class is shrinking.
The middle class continues to shrink.
Here.
Funny thing about the United States, it's becoming a developing nation. Just take a look at the middle class.
when we hear that our middle class is shrinking.
The middle class continues to shrink.
Middle class in this country for the last 40 years has been disappearing.
A shrinking middle class probably doesn't mean a lot to you, right? That's because a lot of us haven't even been alive long enough to remember a thriving one. But one thing is fairly simple. Without a middle class, we're all living in one of two Americas. To understand why the middle class is critical to our economy, first you have to understand what the middle class is good for.
Before industrialization, economies consisted of a few very rich people and a lot of poor people. The middle class is not just the beneficiary of industrialization and all the technology that has been improved, it is also a force maintaining access and productivity in the economy and the polity.
Peter says if you're part of the 20% of Americans who has enough money to get through life's hiccups, you might not be feeling firsthand what it's like for everyone else. These high earners will try to keep wages low, like our federal minimum wage, which has stayed at $7.25 an hour for the last 8 years. They also manipulate policy to keep the low-wage sector from participating in their democracy. Mass incarceration, preventing a path to citizenship, and voter suppression. Plus,
we're going to cut taxes massively.
Lower taxes for everybody.
We get rid of taxes.
All of this keeps the underdeveloped part of the country out of the conversation and stifles upward mobility. So if you're living in the first America, you're going to be all right. Almost all of our existing systems will support you. You'll do things like get a college education and mortgage a house, and your job will probably subsidize your health insurance and retirement. If you're in the other America, you're living in a developing country and there's no middle class dreams for you. The American dream and a strong middle class always worked hand in hand. We had the strongest middle class after World War II. Thanks to the GI Bill, middle-income folks bought homes and labor unions garnered higher wages and safer working conditions. All of this bolstering financial security. As the civil rights movement gained ground, politicians started to pit low-wage people against each other by making it seem to the white majority like it was mostly a black problem. And by the 70s, businesses started using the lobbying machine to promote their own interests. The high-income sector started to get more of the government's ear, and the low-wagers started to fall to the wayside. With the middle class shrinking over the years, for the first time, they're in the minority. In turn, this is killing the American dream, as 70% of people in the lower sector uncomfortably stay there. All this can lead to the civil unrest and polarization we're seeing now, or worse. There are obvious things we can do to turn the tide, like forgiving mortgage and educational debt, or shifting resources from the military and mass incarceration to improving education and healthcare. But somebody's got to push for it, for realsies.
That would be us. So that we don't have to live in Ryan's world.
Yeah, well explained.
Yes, indeed. And it shows that in the bad America, the social injustice makes the people angry and they fight each other. But this doesn't touch the first America we saw before.
No.
It's completely out of it. It's a complete separate world.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And when those of us who live in that world open our eyes to the fact that there is another America, it's frightening, and we either just turn our backs again or we get involved and it becomes obsessive. I feel like.
Yes, I would agree there. Agree there. Definitely, yeah. You mean you try to you want to rationalize it, right? That couldn't possibly be. No. I think I'm gonna skip over some of these things right now because I want to talk about Brexit. I want to talk about Brexit and make sure that what I had in mind was what was really going on. I think it's pretty clear. It looks like just a big purchase of some MPs. But Katie, why don't you talk about Brexit? Tell us what happened there and what you think the outcome is going to be. Katie, did we lose you?
She froze, I think.
Oh no!
Oh, okay, perfect timing.
There we go.
She's coming back. Yeah.
Here she comes back in. All right.
Yeah, she's back.
Happened. I'm just looking at her. I'm like, wow,
I'm
she's
back.
doing remarkably still. You missed your intro. You totally missed your intro.
I missed my.
Yes.
No, it froze. You disappeared.
All right. Well, so the intro was talk about Brexit. Here's Katie.
But where do I start?
Well, so I mean, did you get to hear what I asked about it yesterday, or what I said about it yesterday at all?
I did, but I'm afraid I don't remember.
No, that's cool. Let me plug you in here. So, I mean, basically, I thought it was just a big purchase. We're going to give you some money. You're going to give us your votes. And it was very plain and simple. I thought there was even something in it that said specifically that MPs got money, but I didn't have I saw a blurb, an article about it, but I'm not sure. What else do you want to tell us about that?
Well, I didn't see anything about individual MPs getting it, but it amounts to $1.3 billion. And there was a conservative former, I forget what they called him, something or other, former chief of staff to David Cameron. And he was trying to say this was a good deal. And they were perfectly legitimate partners in government. And in the past, Gordon Brown had paid more than that for a vote on a single issue, which was a pretty dubious one. It was about keeping people in detention for 42 days without charge. But anyway, he was trying to sell this as this was a good deal. Corbyn doesn't believe it's a good deal, and a number of Tories are questioning it. They, according to Corbyn anyway, in Parliament, they prefer his Brexit policy on jobs, etc. So I don't know how far this is going to go. I would say it makes me very nervous. I think the DUP, their past is shady. This conservative was mentioning the shady IRA-linked past of Adams and McGuinness and how they had all given a lot to get peace. But the DUP members, a number of them, even the MPs, are also linked to the Ulster resistance. In other words, the Protestant paramilitary groups. So it's all a big mess, and they are very hard-ring right. They're anti-abortion. They're anti-science. They're anti. There's a number of creationists among them. Everything. And these guys, they will push. If they don't get their way, they will just ask for more money or whatever. I don't see this working out at all.
No, it won't.
Yeah, that's lovely. So and that's who was it that said? Was it you, Marcus, that you mentioned that the other day, or whoever said that they'll just ask for more money and they'll get it?
I said it yesterday. It started with 1 billion, but it won't be by far. They will come the next occasion. They will come and say, if you don't follow our demands, we will crush your government. They have Theresa May in their hands. That's a fact. Yeah.
And the other thing, and I find that very interesting because it would appear to be true, and I heard somebody in chat mention it a few weeks ago, don't know if it was Michael Stapleton or I don't remember. There was a certain Adam Ramsey, he's the editor of opendemocracy.uk, and I saw him on Real Media and the Real News as well. And he was explaining how all of different things came about, but he said that he and another journalist had been investigating why the DUP had paid for a lot of leave material that was being distributed in Scotland and where they would have gotten the money from it. And they discovered, and I think that now, if this is correct, this is what he said on the Real Media, on the Real News. He said that a Scottish Tory, Richard Cook, was chair of something called the Constitutional Research Council, and the DUP had received 435,000 from this group. Now, the Tory, Richard Cook, had set it up with two others. He'd set up a company called 5 Star Investment Management. The two others being a Saudi prince, former head of Saudi Arabian intelligence services, father of the Saudi ambassador to the UK, and a Peter Haystrup, who turns out to be, it seems, a Danish arms dealer, who was in some way coordinated or dropped a lot of weapons to a terrorist group in India. And these two also used some of this DUP money that they got was also used in some company, I couldn't catch the name, Aru something or other, IQ, influential in the Trump campaign, used by all the Leave groups in Brexit referendum. Anyway, the point is, Northern Ireland is the only way where you can actually give, the only place in the UK where you can actually give dark money to parties and not have to account for it. Now, the Tories said that they would change that and they would release the document saying who gave what, where, when, but they haven't done so. And apparently, since 2009, they've made £12 million at least that way. So there's a lot of stuff, but either way, both sides up the north have a history, and they're both very tough to negotiate with. And I would feel very, very uncomfortable if I were and you know, it's dangerous stuff, and some way or other they're linked to Trump and everything else too. And given their opinions and how how far right they are, I'm not really surprised.
All right.
When you described the players in that scenario, it just sounded like a villains club. I just pictured a bunch of people sitting around going, excellent.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And the worst thing, and I do want to say that there's an assembly in Northern Ireland which basically deals, I think, in regional politics, and it fell apart in January. And now they have until Thursday to sort things out, or there could be direct rule from London. But this is very, very iffy, because one of the reasons it fell apart was that Nicholas, no, I'm going to get the names wrong, the head of the DUP, I forget her name, it's another lady. I'll find her name. Arlene Forster or something. She was directly involved in setting up this scheme, which had to do with renewable energy, and $1 billion, no, $500 million went missing, and a lot of people benefited. And given that benefited, but they're still trying to sort out that mess. And Jerry Adams just said, that's enough. I'm not dealing with this woman. I'm not dealing with this. And that wasn't the only reason, but that was a big reason. And now she's been rewarded. She's leading the DUP, and she's in with the Tories in London. I don't know where that's going to go, but you know, they all seem to think, oh, there'll be so much money. We'll bring in the Sinn Féin, and we'll all have lots of money to dish out in Northern Ireland, so nobody will mind. I don't think it's going to work out that way.
Doesn't sound like it.
No.
It sounds very American.
Yeah, well, corruption is everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes,
it is. It is. Thank you for that, Katie. Thank you for all the details, the information there, where the money goes. And it just seems that the money just ends up back in all the places we don't want it to go. Not benefiting the citizens at all. Just a few. Just a few. The Villains Club, says Jeffrey Pearson. Yes. It's a great way to call it.
Anyway, just a comment at the end, nothing to do with that, but to do with France. The Mélenchon's group are very happy with the results of the elections and the fact that they have their group connected with the movement on the ground, which means that they will get the message of the people directly into Parliament. And they have all sorts of plans and a huge membership online, both that group and Mélenchon himself. So they have great plans, videos, and everything else to explain to people how to react when the media attacks you. And there's one I haven't looked at yet, but I've seen, France TV des Infos, and it's apparently a parody of the different characters, Macron being built up to idol status or whatever by the establishment media, and Mélenchon being put down, and they basically parody all this. So that sounds good, but I haven't looked at it yet. So
all right, well, let us know how it is if you get a chance.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. See, this is what's nice, having correspondence, other people coming in and talking about details and stuff that I never provide because I don't have any of those things. I just don't have time. I just load up as many articles as I can find in the morning and then get as many little bits and points as I can so that we can have a conversation that really doesn't contain all of the context. It's, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
That's why this is a conversation and not called news for the revolution, right? Or historical information of fact for the revolution. I tried to be very clear. I probably could take the word therapy out of it because really it's only therapy for me. I designed this just to give me some peace of mind.
No, that's not
for
true.
Everyone.
That's not
for everyone.
I just wanted to make that clear to everybody out there. I can produce better than this, but this is fun. This is fun.
Important distinction.
Right. Yeah, it's a very important distinction. And I just love this. But thank you, Katie, for that information. We are going to just move right on into another correspondent. Ashley Terry is going to talk to us about Juneteenth, which, as I said before, most white people have never even heard of. And when they do, they forget every year, just like Black History Month and all the other ones relating to culture that we don't want to remember. I'm sure the Native Americans get a day or so. Anyway, Ashley, tell us about Juneteenth, man.
I've got another question to put you on the spot too.
Great.
Did you know there's a Black national anthem?
Again, probably something that somebody told me in passing, and nope.
Yeah, well, that's what they consider lift every voice and sing. You've heard that song, or I'm gonna butcher it if I try to. Anyway, it's in the video. You'll hear it. You'll hear it in the video. It's sung at the open to all NAACP meetings, and in case you don't know what that is, that's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and it's weird that you have to spell some of these things out, but again, I feel like white culture is still very far removed from the culture, well, black culture in America. It even feels wrong to say black culture, because when you think of white culture, well, you got nerd culture, you got sports culture, you got all these other things that are a part of white culture, Hollywood, all this other stuff, and it's all
what makes them a part of white culture? I just want to stop you there to ask. You just decided that those things, sports, nerdiness, was associated with whiteness. I've never associated those things. I know black nerds.
I do
sports,
too, but
so I don't know how you. I mean, that's a.
Well, maybe it is my own personal associate. I'm trying to figure this out myself, and that's why I enjoy the conversation, because you might be right. It might be just a personal association, but here's what I'm saying. When I refer to white culture, is there something that is brought to mind by that?
For me, it's no culture.
Something specifically? Okay.
I that's, to me, white culture is no culture. Because what is it? I consider America to be cultureless in the fact that I look at us as the youngest of countries, and when I look at the history of everybody else, we got shit. Yet we're so proud of our little tiny sliver. And I don't know what that culture is really, but that's how I think of it today. In 1985, I probably thought a lot, but that's what I think of it today. I'm like, what is our culture? Our culture is, what we were told was our culture was a melting pot of all cultures, except that we didn't treat all those cultures equally. But it's a melting pot of, remember the great melting pot? Remember that?
I remember that phrase, yeah, absolutely.
That's what we are. That's our culture. American is the melting pot, somehow. But,
It's more like a stew with big chunks in it. But yeah, it's
okay. I'm not even going to let you define that beyond that. You got to stop there.
Well, no, it is, because you got pockets of different cultures. You got Korean town and Chinatown and all these different areas where people like to hang out with their own cultural groups, and so we think of ourselves as a melting pot, but it's not. We don't mix culturally with other subcultures, but the idea that there is this inherent blackness to some level of culture, it's only because we've pigeonholed them for so long. Anyway, I've gotten into a different area than I had anticipated. So
yes, I'm sorry. I derailed you because I was curious, and this is one of those deep conversations we could have on the pseudo-intellectuals.
Yeah.
So please, which is a great show, by the way. I have a clip in there, everybody, the pseudo-intellectuals. Ashley did a short. We're not going to run it, but you guys can watch it. Ashley's going to get back talking about Juneteenth. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, you could probably run the clip, and then that'll spur maybe some more discussion from Katie and Markus as well.
So tell us what this clip is from.
Okay, so the Juneteenth is, it doesn't spell it out, the whole story, but in the clip. But Juneteenth is a celebration here in America for 151 or 2 years ago now. Galveston, Texas was the last place in America to stop slavery, because there was a resistance movement in Texas, and when word got to Texas 2 years after abolition, that's when that's kind of the history marker from when Juneteenth is supposedly a celebration. And then as I went there and I was told, again, that this is what the celebration is, I felt myself getting instantly like outraged. It's the opposite of like privileged. Like when you get on an airplane and they say, oh, our Wi-Fi is not working, and you instantly feel like, oh, damn it, I should have had Wi-Fi, and now I don't, because you just told me I was supposed to have Wi-Fi, and now I'm really angry. I felt the same way regarding showing up at this. I was like, what do you mean there's no day of celebration for the Emancipation Proclamation? I'm outraged, this should be a huge thing. And then I have to step back from that and realize that I'm just, another white guy just waking up to the fact that Black America has always had it real bad. So.
All right. I appreciate. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah. I don't even feel like I can talk on this subject personally. That's why I don't. I mean, and I'm glad you do. Right? That's my own little penance. It's like, nope, you don't get to talk about this subject.
Yeah. Well.
So
yeah, and it's hard. It's hard because, again, I was getting real emotional, real worked up about even what I wanted to say, because it does make me real angry to think about how overlooked. I don't know. It's white privilege, like you said, Crunch. It's white privilege, and then in dealing with it, and your own justifications of it, and then instantly getting pissed at yourself for thinking like how you've justified it over the years. And so that's my thought process the whole day, and wanting to relate that, and yet all the people that I got into conversations with, they're largely people of color, obviously, that I was like, I'm so pissed that this isn't a thing that white people celebrate. They kind of, the reactions vacillated between like nodding their heads like, yes, thank you for finally waking up to this, and just turning their backs like, you just have no idea. Like, and it was all done very politely, but it's just hard. Yeah, it's a hard battlefield to navigate.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty about it. It is hard to talk about it. I mean, it's we should feel shame. I do. Right? That's part of this. That's part of the experience of knowing that you've done something wrong. Not maybe not directly, but sure. That's part of the experience. That's karma. So this video is, where did you film this? Because you put this together, and
this was in Corvallis.
This was in Corvallis,
which does not have a large African American population, but we work on bringing more minority groups into because we're a fairly rural township, and so it's important to kind of bring diversity in. We pride ourselves. It's in the town constitution and everything else that we support and want to encourage diversity and all. I guess that's typical college town kind of rhetoric.
All right, here we go.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty.
We are all here, black, white, indifferent. We all came here for a purpose today, to celebrate one of the oldest and not even well-known celebrations of our own history. And if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Juneteenth celebration! Come on! There we go.
Juneteenth is important for people to understand that this really marked the official ending of slavery in America. So it's good to celebrate that the same way we would Independence Day. The NAACP is all about helping erase race-based discrimination. And unfortunately, that is still a need, even here in Corvallis. We still need organizations like the NAACP to step in and help promote change in our society. So it's still very important and vital.
Till victory is won.
That's it.
Nice, Ash. It's really nice.
Very good, Ash.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
No, absolutely.
Yes, thanks, Ash. Thanks, Ash. Never heard of it.
Yeah. And
Me neither.
all I can hope is that year after year we do bring more attention to it. I think it should be something that's celebrated. And I was mentioning that one of the speakers, Raven Womack, who was the first speaker in that video, he teared up at one point because when they wrote into Galveston and said you're free, the document that they produced to them basically said you're free now to work for free. Like basically you don't have to work for us for free anymore, but you can if you want to. That's what the document said. And
how nice.
Yeah, I mean, how ridiculous. And that sets the tone for the next 150 fucking years, you know?
Yeah.
Man.
It's all about education. It's awful when you have to rewrite everything, but the victors write the history books, and it takes generations to realize what's been going on and to get all the other voices on board and telling their story. And, you know, when I was a kid, being Irish, I heard America was the land of the free, etc. I have lots of relations there, and I thought it was a wonderful place. And when I was about 12, I was in Luxembourg at the time, and my dad was watching something on television, and I came into the room, and he had just gone out for a moment, and I twigged immediately it was America, and it was the 1960s. It was black and white, and then there were these policemen beating on black people. And I thought first, it's a film. That's a weird film. My dad doesn't usually watch. And of course, then it struck me that it wasn't a film. And my father came in, and I was really upset. And I said, but that's America. And he said, yes, that happened. And it was Mississippi or wherever. And so he said, yes, that happened. And things are no longer like that, except, well, we thought that at the time. And I was standing there crying, and I said, but this is 100 years after the slaves were freed. 100 years. And I was so shocked. I thought if it was South Africa or whatever at the time, maybe, but America, I mean, talk about loss of innocence. I mean, that's the moment I think back to.
Wow. Yeah.
But it is still the land of the free. But you should be white and have money.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was thinking about this, Marcus. What you said a while back, I heard it on one of the shows. I think I was just listening. That in Germany, regarding the Holocaust, they never let you forget now in schools, right?
No.
And
in every school here, it is a major subject of our own history teaching. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in the U.S., slavery is taught in schools. We're taught all about the Civil War. Interestingly, most of the discussion around the Civil War that I was taught growing up in Georgia, we focused a lot on the battles, the fight between, well, this is what the South believed and this is what the North believed, and it revolved around autonomy, a dual state. The conversation really didn't revolve around slavery that much. Slavery, and then there were slaves involved. Yes, that, you know.
Okay, I see. Yes, this education has no purpose, in my opinion, because it might show the strategic attempts which happened there, but to leave out the victims of it all, it makes no sense. Then you should forget to teach anything.
Yeah. Oh, the victims were all the white lives that were lost on both sides.
Of course, yes, Gettysburg and so on. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what you said earlier, and what makes it so difficult, in my opinion, is that we. I'm here in Germany, but I think you guys in America who are white, I think we cannot imagine what those people, the black people or people of color, are suffering in America. What daily racism concerns, and I'm asking myself, if I was confronted with this on a daily basis, how would I react? How would I consider society, and how would I be prepared to get myself into society? You know. Of course, I would look to get my community, to live among other people of my skin color, etc. You know, I think this is pretty normal. And if you see some months ago, I read an article about that. Even you can see it even on the political map, that more and more Democrats are looking for states who are democratic, who have a democratic government or a community, because they don't want to live among Republicans and vice versa. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And it's hard also to have this conversation. John, do you know if you have any regular black audience members? I mean, I don't know them.
Yes, this would be interesting.
I mean, so that's a whole long history here.
Yeah.
There was a whole implosion of Bernie 2016 TV because we weren't as color diverse as we needed to be as a thrown together volunteer network that had expanded and become an ego unto itself. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm not an employer, and I don't seek out equal opportunities. People that show up to volunteer show up. And I wish I had somebody of color to come on and talk about this subject, because, we don't know what we're talking about here. So that's
I'm gonna work on that for you, John.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm just telling you, in my experience with this volunteer network, there's been a lot of issue around that subject. Without and I would love, but volunteers are who they would come in.
Yeah, you just have to have somebody that's dedicated to that one issue, basically,
right?
And to bring it into the conversation. That's the hard part, right? Is making things. There's so many causes now that, and again, for a lot of us white people, I think we do feel like the battle's been won. And I to a large extent, I mean, more than we like to admit to ourselves, and because we see the incarceration rate. Blacks serve 20% longer sentences. Well, that's not that much. That's an extra 1 year out of 5.
Right. And just to correct, listen, Metalhead, this volunteer channel, we don't care what color your skin is. Yes. But I also can't control who shows up to volunteer. That's been the problem, right? Whoever shows up, shows up. Let's bring a rainbow on. I've always said that. I'd love to have a lot more. I've always said I'd love to have a lot more people involved. The problem with that has been that once people get inside this machine, they discover it's a functioning media network, and a functioning media network requires some dedication and some time and some training. This isn't like a bullshit show. I don't do this simply for my own therapy. I actually have experience in this industry, and I do have full training, and I created systems and processes and technologies as a businessman to do this. And so if somebody wants to volunteer, what they find out is that you either are part of that production environment and you're going to learn to do things, be responsible for them, or you're not, because you don't have the time to do it, which is fine. And most people as volunteers don't have the time right now because they're desperately surviving to make ends meet. At least anybody that discovers that we exist, right? Or you're working within larger organizations that have a shit ton of money because they've figured out how to get all that money together, and they're a 501(c)(3) and they're working with unions, and that's just, not to go off on that a little bit, but that's the whole reason the ground game and working with Ashley and the Majestic and the Democratic Party and all that stuff is important, is because I've not been able to sustain this ship online. It's I drag it around until it breaks, and then we fix it, and then we drag it around and it breaks, and now I'm just so here we are. Anyway, that's that was a long story. By the way, just really quick, who was it who was dropping all that information? Michael Stapleton, thank you for putting links and correct information, more detailed information about Juneteenth. Okay, I appreciate that because I know there's a lot of details about it, specifics that we weren't covering, that Ash wasn't covering. All right, and so thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John.
Yes.
John?
Yep.
Yeah, just a lighter take on something there. Now, I know that the word means something else in America and people don't like it, but the word colored, which was how people referred to Black people back when I was a kid. My mother told me that there were people who had different color skins, and she told me that there were colored people. And one day, I was very small, we were standing at a bus stop, and there was a lady beside me, and I kept staring up at her. And she got on the bus, and my mother said, "Oh, you saw the lady? That's a colored lady." Now, I know this, you'll be hearing this different. And I looked at her, and I said, "But Mommy, she was only brown." And the reason was I understood colorful, and I was waiting to see these amazing rainbow people. And I just thought, she's just brown.
That's cute.
Yeah,
that's
The way
interesting.
kids-
Interesting perspective. That's very cool. That's very cool. I wish. All right, heavy subjects. Thank you, everybody. Good conversation today. Hi, all 80 of you out there watching, and to everybody that's going to come by later. Right? Yes, tonight, Darcy, is We the People meet Randy Bryce. That's at 7 p.m. Pacific. Make sure to join us for that. And I'm going to attempt to talk about some other stuff here. But what a great conversation you guys are having. Hi, everybody. Hey, Chad Lupkes. Ignite the Rainbow Coalition. Yeah, the Rainbow Coalition. Jesse Jackson. I knew nothing about that until started getting into all this stuff, right? All right, we had a couple other stories that I really wanted to cover just because. We have a little time left. My favorite being Trump faking the Time News covers, putting them in his restaurants. Time Magazine asking him to take them down because they're bullshit. We have a president of the United States who makes fake magazine covers and puts them up. That's, as I was telling Marcus, that's something you could do at like Disney World or, Universal Studios. Hey, I'm going to be on the cover of Fortune 500, honey. Check this out. Best call forever. So he probably, somebody probably gave him that for his birthday once. And he was like, this is great. And then he thought it was real. And then he called the guy and said, how come I can only find one copy? And the guy was like, oh, shit. And made more copies and sent them to Trump. And that's how they ended up in his restaurants. The guy probably thought it was real. Had no idea. Probably didn't remember getting interviewed by Time. Anyway.
Too stupid to get embarrassed. It's unbelievable.
Right. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Trump is a prime example of that. He is the Dunning-Kruger effect, just walking. Dunning-Kruger walking, right there. Everything I say is magnificent. I believe it all. And I'm so confident in that because I'm me. That's basically what it is. I'm always right even when I'm wrong. And Mick, hi, good to see you. And glad you're taking notes. I don't, you're not going to learn good production from this show. Not at all.
No.
Not at all. But if you go back to Bernie TV Channel 3, I don't know, Political Revolution TV, and look at The Real Newsroom, that was a well-produced show for what it was. If you look at We the People's before I started hacking it, you can see other professional hosts, volunteers, brilliant productions put together, interviewing different candidates. That was a well-done show. There was a show we did way back at the beginning called Native Life, and that was done by a Native American named Pat Spray, who actually built insane rundowns, incredible. It was just amazing, moving. He always brought us to tears with talking about the history of Native Americans, the truth of what's going on. I learned more producing that show than anything else, right? I go back and look through the channels. There's other stuff. Probably teach more about good production when you're working with a volunteer crew in the middle of a political revolution.
You don't have to make so many apologies for what this show is, though, John.
No, absolutely not. The ones we had before, it was a news show. This is a conversional therapy. So it's a complete... Yeah.
This is an excuse not to do good production. That's what this is. All right. And no, that's actually the truth, though. I got burned out. I got burned out of putting together something. I said, I need to relax the rules on myself. I don't enjoy this anymore. It's no fun. I need to figure out a way to make it cool. And now that we've kind of rebuilt the ship again, and thank you, Metalhead. But now that we've kind of rebuilt the ship, right? The truth is, I don't want to be an on-camera guy. I want to make more shows. I want to build a big network. I now want to do that with the Democratic Party. That's the cool thing, and we're doing it. There was an email that went out today from Larry Taylor with the Progressive Democratic Party of Oregon saying, hey, everybody, we're working with Uphill Media to produce a weekly series. Here's things I want to talk about. That's fucking huge. That was the whole goal in the first. I mean, my goal when I created this was to support Bernie Sanders back when we created Bernie 2016 TV. Support Bernie Sanders because nobody else was. I watched after Bernie Sanders announced. I waited 2 weeks. I was like, where's the explosion of media? Where's CNN? Where's ABC? Don't they see this guy? Nobody's talking about this. And then I'm like, well, people are talking about him on YouTube and Facebook. What the fuck? And so I was like, well, shit, I've got a media network and we're going to use it, right? And we did. But I said, I want to work with the campaign. I was all big and ego, and I'm like, look at me. I started the network. I bought the domain before they did, which probably pissed them off. And I said, let's work with them, right? Actually, I know it was a little bit of contention, but I learned a lesson. You're not quite ready there, John. You don't know dick about politics. You might know how to make good shows, but you don't know anything about politics. You don't know anything about running a volunteer network, which has been the last 2 years of face palms and knee bruises, right? But that's okay. Now it's happening in a way better than I could ever imagine. What you guys don't know is I used to do this for businesses, right? This was going to be pitched to Starbucks back in 2014. Before that, I was talking to these guys who were working with Google Glass on an application, and then it was always business. It's so much better to be doing this for people, for democracy, but actually working within the business of democracy, the actual process, right? And working with the people that are interested in making this happen. Now I can be where I wanted to be, which isn't to say up here on a big throne because I think of myself that way. It's to say now I can help produce this. We can bring democracy online, have these conversations. They can be organized by people like Larry Taylor, actually know what the fuck they're talking about. That's what I wanted. Larry can tell us all about Robert's rules. Larry can tell us all about why you become a PCP and what it means. We need that education. We're not getting that education anywhere else. America needs that education, right? So anyway, that's just to clarify. That was the goal here. It was never for me to become Will McAvoy. That was a fun pipe dream. I always wanted to be Anchorman, right? For real. But it's not the greater goal. So anyway, I'm excited because you guys are here and we're doing this and it's happening and the ground's been connected with the air, and yeah, and now we're gonna take a total left turn because you guys all know what I feel about religion. I'm not going to rant about it. I'm just going to say I would pay for a GoFundMe to have this happen every time they replace this monument. Knock that bitch down because it doesn't belong anywhere on our government fucking property. Yeah. Now, the guy drove his car into it and he filmed himself, so he's a dumbass. All right? And apparently, from what I read, now this was just a statement made by the Church of Satan guys that always get blamed when something like this happens against a relic, right? The satanic guy, he's like, this guy's not even a Satanist. He likes Jesus. Not sure why. I don't even know the full story of why he knocked him down. Maybe just because he thought it fun. Maybe even though he likes Jesus, he believes in separation of church and state. That's why I want to see it knocked down. You know? I know it's not possible, actually. It's like, no. Does that exist? It's like matter-antimatter colliding. But everybody in the universe every MAGA out there is pissed off about this. How dare you knock down the 10 Commandments? Bomb those kids in Syria. Bomb them. Yeah. Because this concrete, stupid 10 commandments that we don't follow, that no Christian follows, right? That's more important than a baby's life. That's more important than human life here. That's basically the message that's being put out today. And the truth is, if that were a Quran, I'd love to see him put up. Why don't we represent all religions? Let's put up the silly myth books for all the dumb religions we have in the country. Every one of them. Please.
Those would be sure to get defaced.
Yes.
I
How
mean,
long would it take?
Yeah. I mean, you saw that there's some civil rights monuments that just consistently get bashed. It's just like the 10 Commandments when they're maybe, but to me, that's not nearly as controversial. That's like a historical marker. Here, so-and-so, I'm going to get it wrong if I try to tell you which ones, but yeah, I saw it on Facebook and just these historical markers. Yeah, which makes
You
it
just
true,
said that.
obviously.
I'm just going to say, you just said, I saw it on Facebook. That's my source.
Yep, Facebook is my source. I realized as soon as it was coming out of my mouth there. But
it's all right.
Yeah.
Dan rather
So,
posts on Facebook. That makes it true, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, the point is that there are all kinds of monuments being defaced for historical, and I mean, maybe people think that's a historical marker too. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I didn't play my my riff. I had this great clip loaded up before I talked about the exciting things about the ground game, but I kind of went off about the ground game already.
New Orleans, yes. Thank you, Paula.
New Orleans, what are we talking about?
It said they removed many in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, the racist Confederate stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Westboro Baptists are always complaining. You're right, Jeffrey Pearson. Chad Lupkes, I've always said that I don't want the commandments in schools unless they are in Hebrew. If kids can't read it, we win. Nice.
Good one.
It's one way to go about it. I believe some states just authorize the teaching of the Bible in the schools if they so choose. So that's a great way to go about it. We'll teach that mythical book. Although American history is a mythical book the way it's taught anyway. What I learned of it was very white. Very white history. There wasn't a lot of color in the history of America that I learned. Certainly nothing about Juneteenth. I know that. Hey, Eco, how are you? Does my expectation of Eco Village for you all ever going to be a ground game? You mean talking about the idea of a community that's that's a whole, I don't even know what you would call it, holistically eco village? Yeah, I mean, we talk about that kind of stuff. Is there a link to a project you want to look at, like the Venus Project that everybody told me I needed to look at that I never did? Sure. Just to go back to some other things, the reason this show is the way it is because I don't have time to make it actually better. When I have people like Ashley and Markus and Katie that can research topics, provide resources, and know what the hell they're talking about, and come to me and say, hey, next Thursday I'd like to talk all about Eco Sutra's Eco Village because I actually know something about it, I go, yo, let's do that.
Why shouldn't we invite Eco Sutra to the show?
We can. We can certainly do that. But then we get into. So just to answer the question in depth, then we get into training. Then we get into, are you coming on to be a regular volunteer? Do you just want to come on to speak your piece? Are you ready to be camera ready? Do you have good internet? Do you have good light? Do you have a good microphone? This is what I'm talking about.
But if he can provide this, we would get first-hand interviews, information.
Sure,
because there's no one else I know with so much background information about this topic.
I understand. I guess what I'm saying is this is how it becomes the implosion of a volunteer network that becomes loaded with who's training who's speaking when, who's coordinating all this stuff. Right?
And who gets the most say, right? And fairness and all that kind of stuff.
And all I'm doing is taking it from your statement has been, I built this ship, Marcus. I built this ship. Love to do it. The thing is what I'm trying to do is set the structure from ground root above me and around me so that I'm not the one holding all the sticks. That's the problem here. Until I cement people in roles and responsibilities so that they're onboarding, they're training, they're scheduling, they're the volunteer coordinator. I don't have a volunteer coordinator. Between Lynn County Democrats, between the three groups that want to work with me and us, I need a volunteer coordinator because that is not me, and I will not do that job. I can't. And so,
of course not. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so Marcus, I want that. I want that to happen. That's why I talk about it all the time. We can make that happen, but I know what people need to be in place before we move, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, even with Katie and Ash in here doing these things. If you go back and look at the way this was handled before, when I had a volunteer coordinator, when I had onboarders, when I had trainers, when I had that working, the quality of everything, no offense to what's going on here, but the quality of everything was way higher. Okay? Because it could be. Because we had that structure in place. It's the same fucking thing with the Democratic Party. I just want to go to politics. It's the same thing as we need to take those roles, we need to get in place, we need to do the work, build the structure so that we can have it run. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it fell apart after the primaries, but we have to build up. If not when, John, you know.
Right. Well,
now is the time. Now is the time, in my opinion.
Agreed.
That vetting is important, though, and knowing how people handle themselves on camera. I realize that I'm not very good on camera, so I like to limit my presence as much as possible because I don't say things well. I don't use my bigly words like I should. But so it's hard to know where you fit in, and then it's hard to reel back your ego when you see that you're not very good at doing what you thought you might be able to do.
Well, welcome to my world. God damn it! And you see what I did? I said I don't care. So plow forward, Ash. Plow forward. All right.
Ash,
I think you did fine.
The pseudo-intellectuals. The three of you make a team. You're very good together. All of you add something to that show. It's really, really good. I love it.
That's true.
Well,
that's got the right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think you're good on screen. You're looking good on screen, man.
Well, thank you. I put it this way. I don't mean to have like false modesty, but I know that I have varying levels of strengths and weaknesses, which we all do, and knowing where to play to those best to best further our cause, whatever we decide to label it, you know, that's what I want to be doing. And it probably doesn't have anything to do with me being on camera, probably producing more of those packages. But that's what I would suggest to all the other volunteers is do what is in your wheelhouse. And if Eco Sutra's wheelhouse is throwing ideas out there or writing or things like that, I mean, it's what John's been saying for do what you what you're best at.
Well, yeah. I mean, we used to onboard people and say, what do you want to do? That's the first question we asked. What do you want to do for the group? And then based on their answers, we could guide them to something that was relevant. You know, well, we don't need that. Would you be willing to do this? Or perfect, we've got a place for you over here, right? Again, can't control who volunteers, right? And and to answer your questions, guys, we're talking more and more about this, not because I'm crashing. Thank you, Chad, for responding, and Chemo, you know. Chad, thank you. Right now he's doing an hour and a half, 5 days a week, and I'm watching the next team build itself around it. Yeah, because Chad was one of the original founders of Bernie 2016 TV. He's seen the build and implode happen numerous times. He had to leave because he was in danger of losing his damn job. I hope you're not on speaker, Chad. You're probably at work. But I mean, he was catching shit for participating in the revolution and in what we were doing while he was at work. And he was so engaged. I mean, Chad still is. He's so engaged in politics and everything going on. He's got kids. He's got a wife. He's got family. He's got all that shit going on. And he had to back away. And he focused more on ground game, right? Janine had to back away and go become a damn senator, right? And that's what happened. People had to go do other parts of the revolution, and that was cool. And we had some implosions with some internal arguments because people got too big for their britches and because we thought we were just special toast, right? And you get that way when you're proud of what you build. But the problem is it's hard to maintain that strictly on a meritocracy. It's hard to maintain that on likes and hearts and shares, right? It's really hard unless you've got people who are dedicated to that. And I said that in the group all the time. I'm like, if we're not cheerleading, they're going to go. We have to cheerlead these people all the time. What happened to me was I ran out of cheerlead power. You know? I ran out of cheerlead. I can't cheer. I'm just done. I need a break. I'm empty, right? So it's building. Chad is absolutely right. We're rebuilding it again because it's necessary. The mission hasn't changed. However, we've learned from our experiences, which is what happens when you explode, which I can equate to losing, right? If you want to, right? Every time that Randy Bryce lost, he learned something. Okay. How much do you think Paul Ryan's lost in the last, or learned in the last 8 years, whatever long he's been dicking around doing his thing in Wisconsin, right? So anyway, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here. You know, this is what we do. In independent media, and I've said this many times, independent media is the muckrakers. We are the new muckrakers, and it is the web. And yeah, there's a lot of gray area there in who's actually functioning for the people, if any at all, that aren't just on the web, right? Are they all mainstream? But this is going to be a rough, bumpy, crazy time where we rebuild a trusting media network. Networks, and they're not going to be traditional media. They're not going to be those guys. You don't see it right now, but they're not going to be those guys. It's going to be TYT and Democracy Now! It's going to be other names. 6 years. I just want to remind everybody, 6 years is what it took South Africa to go from apartheid to Nelson Mandela president. 6 years. Okay. Andrew, I don't remember his name. I think it's not Feinstein. The guy who wrote Shadow World, I actually interviewed him. Now I can't remember his name. It's really bad. He was a cool guy. I've got this clip of him. He went through that entire period. He was an MP. He became an MP. Before that, he was just a citizen, pissed off about shit. He became an MP. And he said, if you had told me before all this shit went down that we were going to end apartheid and Mandela was going to be out of jail, I would have said you're batshit fucking crazy. No, they've got a long way to go. But we just started this ride. We started it when Bernie Sanders announced. We're 2 years in. It could take 6 years. It could take 10 years. But it's a ride, right? And here's Nancy Greenman, who's coming into the hangout right now, because we're going to talk about her and Brenda coming on the show on Friday to talk about what they're doing with the neighborhood. It's not Neighborhood Watch. It's what?
Is that him?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, we're live right now. We'll be done in just a minute.
Can we be here?
Sure.
You might want to.
All right, I'm gonna kill the audio on that channel. So now you can't hear any of the other guys. We're just gonna go out of here. So that was fun. I know.
Broadcast.
I know, but they couldn't hear you guys. I had that whole channel blocked up, so they couldn't hear any of that. So this is weird.
Okay.
The beauty of this system is people can come in and out whenever. I let them in and out, and I made the mistake of letting them in. I told them to come in. It's late. I told them to come in right now. We're late. I told them we were going to be late, and now we're even later than I said we were going to be. So we're just going to be done with this right now because we need to. And there's a bunch of news I didn't cover, and that's okay. Remember, the goal of this here is to fix our democracy for a habitable planet, not to compete with Jimmy Dore. So I'm all for habitable planet. Thank you all for joining us. Tonight, We the People, Iron Stash, Randy Bryce, 7 p.m. Pacific. Join us for that. I promise I won't screw up the intro. All right? I have that all down. And, yeah, join us tomorrow. Another Awake with Markus and I. And pay attention. We got a lot of stuff going on. Thank you for being here. info@bernie2016.tv. If you want to volunteer some time, you want to get involved in the group, do anything what's related to this, get in touch with us via email. We're going out with some weird French song. Right, Marcus?
It is, yes, it is a French band from the 80s. It's Lerita Mitsuko. And there are, when New Wave appeared for a longer time, they were popular in France, of course, and later in Germany. And they are doing a unique sound. And this song we are listening to is C'est comme ça, which means something like, this is how it's got to go. And it is about a woman who is, it is a kind of emancipation song. It's about a woman who feels that she needs to find new targets, new aims, and she needs to break up and to move forward. And yes, I will make it short. Enjoy the video. See you guys tomorrow, because I don't want to let the guest of John wait any longer. See you tomorrow, guys.
Okay. Bye. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye everybody. Bye Ash. Thank you all.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye Ash. Bye John. Bye Max.
C'est comme ça.
Comme ça plongeait, ça vire. Faut que je m'ouvre. Et ça gêne quoi quand y a pas